Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got another podcast episode here for you today. So today we're just doing a normal catch-up podcast. I'm going to show you what I've been working on, some projects, talk about upcoming videos, all that good stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to start with acquisitions because I do have two. I originally was planning on doing a whole podcast episode on crafty stuff I got for Christmas, but then we got through the holiday season and I remembered that I actually didn't ask for crafty stuff. I had put like mostly reading stuff on my list for some reason, which was all stuff that I was really excited about and really happy, but I don't know why I thought I'd have enough like crafty things to make a whole video out of it. So we're just going to include those today. And so I have one Christmas present that I got and one item that I purchased on my own. So for Christmas from my sister-in-law, I got the Crocheted Houseplants book, which was on my book wish list, which is kind of why I forgot about it. But it has absolutely gorgeous amigurumi style little plants that you can crochet. I'm trying to find a picture where it's just the picture, not the pattern. But look at how pretty those are. I definitely want to make some of these for my sunroom. I also want to find one of the hanging plant designs and maybe make a tiny one for in my car, because I think that would be super cute. Like one of these little guys hanging from the rear view mirror. That's the word I was looking for. So I'm really, really excited to make some of the stuff from this book. And then my acquisition was, I know it's going to be socks, but I picked this yarn not with anything specific in mind. I mentioned it in my last podcast, but I am planning a Taylor Swift inspired sock series, and this does not match any of the things that I wanted for that series. However, it is mostly my wedding colors, which is why I was kind of drawn to it. It kind of reminded me of the color palette we used for our wedding, with some other fun colors in it as well. But this is the Hedgehog Fibers sock yarn in the color Renaissance. It's 90% merino wool, 10% nylon, 100 grams. So this is what it looks like. So it was this kind of coloration up here that really reminded me of our wedding, because we did deep teal and burgundy as our two most prominent colors. There were some florals that were more, or not florals, but I guess greenery that were more in like sage green tones, but the bridesmaids' dresses and the groomsmen's ties were this kind of deep teal color, and we used a lot of red for the florals. But then if you look at the rest of the skein, there's also pops of like bright pink and magenta, as well as like an off-white. And then here on this end of the skein, there's actually like yellow and black and some other just like neon color pops, but mostly it reminded me of our wedding, which was actually really close to Halloween. So this little pop of the like oranges and yellows with the black also made me think of that. So I'm really excited to work with this, although I have no idea when I'm going to be able to work with it, because I have so many projects planned right now that this was probably not a good idea for me to purchase, but that's okay. You know, we'll get to it when we get to it. Mostly I was just really excited to have some hedgehog fibers to try out, because I've never tried that yarn before, and I always see it online, especially in other people's vlogs on YouTube or like hauls of yarn that they got, and other like local yarn store tour or haul videos, but my local yarn store doesn't carry it, so I was really, really excited to find some. And I actually purchased it on Amazon, which was not the ideal way to do that, but it popped up on my suggestions and it was easy to get with the Prime shipping. So in the future, I'd ideally like to get it from a local yarn store or from the dyer directly, but that was what worked for me at the time. So I went ahead and purchased it through Amazon. But those are the only two acquisitions that I've had for the last couple weeks. And I'm really excited to make things with both of those. But let's move on to some whips. I do not have any finished objects to show you. I definitely was on a train of like start-itis the last couple days where I wanted to start a bunch of things but like didn't finish anything or even like make super significant progress on a lot of them, but I'll go ahead and show you what I've got. So first one you would have seen last podcast, I think, my last like normal podcast, but it's this cowl that I'm making with mini skeins. It's a bandana cowl, which is why it has this like point increase section. And I am on my last mini for this. You can't like see super well where the transition is, but it's this like light blue variegated as opposed to the like teal and brown and white variegated. So I'm actually starting some ribbing to finish it off so that it has a couple rows of ribbing like it did at the beginning. I did use a pattern for this, however, I ignored the pattern entirely. I basically used it to cast on and do the ribbing, and then just made up my own pattern from there. So I won't even bother talking about that. I do want to make the actual pattern at some point, but I'll wait until I am actually doing it and following the directions before I share it with you. But I'm really liking that project. It's become one of my like easy kind of mindless knitting projects. So that's been really fun to work on, especially while like reading. I also did a lot of it in the car when we traveled over the holidays. So I'm kind of just looking for like a solid afternoon where I can knock that out and finish it, especially because it's in my school colors for the school that I'm currently subbing at. So it'd be nice to have kind of a spirit wear piece that I can wear to school. So that's it for that project. My other projects. So I talked a lot last time about how I wanted to make a circle cardigan with the red sweater quantity of yarn that I have that I already frogged once because I started a knitted cardigan with cables in it and I didn't like how it was looking. First of all, when I frogged it, I discovered it was in fact going to be plenty big enough for me. I don't know what I was thinking when I thought it was too small. But I also stood by the decision to frog because it was not going to have the drape that I usually like in knitted cardigans. It was going to be like kind of not stiff, but definitely like very structured. It was not going to like drape nicely. How many times can I use that word in this video? And I had some grand ideas about doing it as a circle cardigan because I wanted the like soft, romantic, like flowiness of it, and maybe wear it for Valentine's Day. And then I started going through the process of trying to pick a pattern and kind of thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I actually really just want to make another hexagon cardigan. I don't really want to do something where I have to follow a pattern. I recently have done a lot of like pattern heavy projects, and my brain was definitely just craving something simple, but I still wanted that like oversized, comfy sweater look. So I decided like another hexagon cardigan can't hurt my collection. So let's just do it. So this is how far I got. So not super far, but not nothing. I've used up all the yarn that I had frogged from the original version of the cardigan already. So that at least was good. But this is how big we've got right now. So I haven't decided yet if I want this to be a like slightly more fitted cardigan and then just extend the bottom to make it longer, or if I want the whole thing like very, very oversized, like the traditional hexagon cardigan method. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear my heat kick on. It's cold today. Actually, it's a snow day where I am, so I am filming during the day for the first time in quite a while. Instead of like late in the afternoon / early evening. But I figured that since I really was like craving making a hexagon cardigan, like just go ahead and do it, use the yarn, have the sweater. I can always be more creative with a different color if I so choose, but I do still have a couple of sweater quantities of yarn that I'm hoping to knock out this year. So if that takes care of one of them, then I can move on to some of the other ones. But I am slightly hoping that I can get that done for Valentine's Day this year. because I think it'd be really fun to wear for Valentine's Day. Also, like, it looks like it's going to be pretty cold here for the next, like, month or so. It was unseasonably warm over Christmas in Wisconsin, and actually where I was in St. Louis too, it was very oddly warm for Christmas. I don't know if that was the whole Midwest or just sections of it or what was going on, but we are definitely now diving into the colder temperatures, hence the snow day today. So having another like big warm cozy sweater would actually be really practical and helpful. Also, the classroom that I'm currently working in is such a roll of the dice in terms of temperature. Like, sometimes I come in and it feels like a sauna in there, and sometimes I come in and the heat hasn't like kicked on quite yet and it's freezing. So layers are good when it comes to teaching. So yeah, hopefully I can make some progress on that over the next couple of weeks so that I have it in time for Valentine's Day. I typically do more of a red look for Valentine's Day than a pink look. And I also have a necklace that's an anatomical heart that's all in silver. So I generally do like some deep reds with the anatomical heart. So like slightly creepy Valentine's kind of look, which I have a lot of fun with, especially because I used to be a science teacher. So the anatomical heart necklace is a big thing for me. But yeah, having another sweater in my collection is probably going to be necessary with the super cold months coming up. And then other than that, I did have a couple of projects that I like well, no, here's the one I barely started. I finally decided to use those green yarns that I got originally for a colorwork cowl that I've now attempted twice and frogged twice. And I am still doing a colorwork cowl. However, I am doing a different design than what I originally wanted to do. And it's going to be mosaic knit, but I'm actually using it to test something I want to do as a tutorial eventually. For Christmas this year, I had made my dad a drawstring cowl. So like the top of the neck is almost like hoodie strings where you could pull it tight so that you can tighten it around your face or closer to your neck to keep cold air out. And that's something that I want to do as a tutorial here on YouTube. So I'm testing it out again with those 2 shades of green yarn, making a colorwork design, but I'm thinking the actual tutorial I'll use one of my like yarn sets like this so that I can have a bunch of colors in there. And maybe do some more in-depth tutorials on the mosaic stitches, which I think would be fun. I've been really liking mosaic knitting lately. I do have a cardigan in progress that's mosaic knit, but I haven't made any progress on it since before Vlogmas, so we're not going to dig that one out today. But that one's also in the current project pile. I think I just want the red sweater more at this moment, so the red one's going to get done faster. And my other 2 whips are actually both socks, but one of them I'm going to save for my next podcast because that one, I have a topic for that one that relates to those socks. But the other ones I'm working on will actually get their own dedicated vlog, so you'll see that over the next maybe you'll see that this week. I haven't decided yet when things are coming out. I have a sock vlog and another tutorial scheduled for the next 2 Fridays in January, but I haven't decided which one's going to fall on which day yet. Hopefully I can finish both of them this week, especially now that I have this extra day that I can dedicate to just filming. But what was I saying? I feel like when I film these videos, I talk so fast that I forget what track I was going on, which probably means I should script out my videos, but I also like the really chatty videos from other YouTube creators. I don't mind if it's not scripted, unedited. Like, I like hearing all of those little things from other creators. So I hope you don't mind it, but sometimes I do catch myself feeling like I'm talking too fast. So I'm aware of the problem. If you had also noticed that, I just don't know how to stop it. But anyway, I am working on socks inspired by every single Taylor Swift album. That's one of my goals for 2024. And I have started my first pair. Right now, I have both of them going. I am going to make a giant tangle by trying to show you this. I have both of them, so I have finished the leg and the heel flap on both. And these are actually going to be my midnight socks, and they're specifically inspired by the song Bejeweled. Very, very sparkly, hand-dyed yarn in jewel tones. I thought it was perfect. This was actually the yarn that like gave me the idea for this whole series. I also did start on New Year's Eve, so I thought it was appropriate to have Midnights be the first album that I did for 2024. And each pair of socks that I do is either going to be inspired by the album as a whole or a specific song on the album. It'll just kind of depend on which one I'm doing. So because I didn't want to do just a plain like navy blue sparkly sock, I was really happy that I had this very jewel toned glittery yarn in my collection to do for Midnights. So if all goes according to plan, I'll finish those socks this week so that I can finish the vlog for you. But we'll have to see because my knitting time has been very limited lately. It didn't help that I decided to start a bunch of new projects. That definitely did not help in the getting stuff done category. But we've definitely we're back in school mode, which is kind of why the snow day today was so nice. And unfortunately, we're at a time in the year where state testing is a thing, so I've had to organize that. And I had some just schedule changes, I guess is the best way to say it, after break. That I'm still I feel like I've been playing catch up for a couple of days. I also, even though I did a lot of knitting over Christmas, I didn't get to do a lot of knitting in my own home over Christmas break because we spent most of it out of state, which was lovely. Glad we got to see the other side of the family and all of that, but it definitely added to the feeling like we were just going. So I'm glad to have today to kind of reset myself, even though I will be working the whole day, which is, I think a lot of people would say that's not the point of a snow day. The point is to relax or do fun things. But for me, I know that this is going to put me in a better place for the rest of the week, so I can take a little bit more time in the evenings to just chill and relax. So yeah, I am giving myself more relaxed time later by working most of the day today. That's just how it is. But yeah, I think this is kind of a short podcast episode, but my goal is usually to hit around 20 minutes for a podcast, closer to 15 if it's one of the topic based ones. So I don't mind it being super short. The point is just to be chatty for a few minutes and show you what I'm working on. I did finally get my yarn wall situated. That was a project that I also was working on between all of the other things I was doing. I originally wanted it to hang more like a garland, so I had a couple of hooks with a string between them that I was hanging the yarn on, but that proved to be way too heavy for the hooks that I was using. So I instead just staggered hooks to kind of give the same look, and then I've actually been hanging my yarn on there with Christmas ornament hooks, because I can just loop it into the skein or into the tag, depending on what the tag looks like, and then just hang them on the little hooks. So that's where this will go next. But I wanted a fun way to display my hanks of yarn or things that hang more vertically, and use this shelf more for cakes and normal skeins. Because I did learn just in the last year that you're not supposed to cake up yarn immediately. You wait until you're going to use it before you cake it up, which was not something that I knew before that. So that was kind of interesting to find out, but I'm slowly working on getting my office set up like exactly the way that I want it, so it's functional and a visually appealing background for videos like this. Hanging my fairy wings is on the list eventually, but honestly with the way the space is set up, the odds are pretty high that that's going to be hung in a place where you can't see it on camera. It'll probably be more like in front of me in this area, but hanging those is an eventuality. You can't see it. I might show it eventually in a vlog, but I have stuff hanging over my desk up here because that's what I'm facing while I'm working. So eventually this is going to look like even more of an explosion of color than it is currently, which does make me kind of glad that I didn't try to paint the walls in here and I just left them white, because that makes it a lot more versatile to change up the look, change out the artwork. But I'm slowly building up like what I want the color palette in here to be. So that'll, it's another ongoing project because who doesn't need more projects? We just need all the projects all the time. But that is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. If you liked this video and want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so that you can be notified of all of my crafty content right here on YouTube. And if you want to follow me on other social media, that information will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone!